What's up, guys, and welcome to my non-spoiler review for The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, aka The Conjuring 3. This movie is not directed by James Wan. It's directed by Michael Chavez, who previously directed a film in this franchise, The Curse of La Llorona, which is not good and quite bad, actually. So when he was announced to direct this, I was a little nervous. After seeing the trailers to this, I said, okay, maybe this guy really realizes that the Conjuring movies are the soul and they're the gold standard of this series. The Conjuring 1 being my favorite horror film of all time, alongside 1978's Halloween, and The Conjuring 2 being great as well. Both extremely well directed. James Wan did a fantastic job with those movies. So him not directing this one, you can feel it, you can tell. Sure, there are certain bits in this movie and sequences to where the camera sort of moves and flows through certain environments to how James Wan likes to introduce his arena in certain aspects. So that was pretty cool to see. But other than that, his horror style doesn't really. I don't know. It just seemed kind of slightly above average. The horror stuff in this movie. It's nothing at James Wan level. And to be honest with you, there's not as much as you would expect in a movie called The Conjuring, a Conjuring movie. This is different in a sense that the first two films took place in either the Perrins house in the first one or the Hodgson house in the second one, and it would all be very centered in one main location. In this film, basically what the story is, without giving any spoilers away, Arnie Johnson is a guy who is said to be possessed by demons or a demon, and he commits murder. So basically, the Warrens have to prove that it was demonic possession before he gets like the death sentence. So yeah, it's an interesting story. It's a true story, and they take it in some pretty crazy directions. I mean, from that, what I just told you, that's basically as far as you can go with the true story element of it. But there's a lot of stuff that they had to add, supernatural side, of course, that they do in both movies, really, the previous two movies. But this one, I think it just takes it to a whole nother level. It doesn't really become solely demonic anymore. It becomes something slightly different, and the antagonist is maybe not what you'd expect it to be. Other than that, look, I will say this: I did like this movie. I did like it. I didn't love it as much as I loved the first two. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are great again as Ed and Lorraine Warren. They are the heart and soul of the whole entire series, and you do feel their bond here again, and their you know relationship and their love for each other. I think it's strongest shown in the second movie, but here it is shown that they do really have a strong love for each other, and that does shine through, and the performances really help with that. But look, the thing that I didn't really love about the movie that I loved about the first two is, like I said, it's kind of more of a detective story this time around, where Ed and Lorraine have to actually go and investigate and figure out what actually is the source of this evil and what's going on. And when they do, the big finale of the movie, I do feel like is the weakest finale of the trilogy. Overall, it's the weakest film of the trilogy, and I think that all stems back to James Wan not directing this movie, but it does have some okay sequences. The performances are great. Uh, every actor in this movie does a great job. The score I didn't feel like was as good as the first two either. Same composer, Joseph Bashora, I believe the composer's name is. He did this one as well, and the score just felt extremely basic to me and didn't stand out as much as the first movie's two scores did. And another thing I want to touch on before I finish the review is the way that the first maybe 20 minutes of the movie is edited. Something like the first 20, 25 minutes, whatever. Um, every time there would be a scene that ends, not every time, but a lot of the time a scene would end, they would either fade to black or cut to black. And then the next scene would sort of fade in to where the first two Conjuring movies didn't do that. So I thought that was kind of an interesting idea to do, and I don't know, it was different. So a lot of things about this movie were different than the first two, but I did like it. I thought it was entertaining. I thought the mystery and the investigation was pretty cool, even though when you actually find out what's going on, um, you really got to ride with it. You really got to ride with it, and if you can't accept it, then I feel like you might drop out at the end of the movie. I personally was okay with it. I thought it was fine. I thought it was entertaining enough. But not as good as the first two. But this movie, hey, I did really like it. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. Not as good as A Quiet Place Part 2, which I also gave 4 out of 5 stars, but for totally different reasons. If you want to see my review for that, that's up on this channel now as well. Non-spoiler review. Don't worry about that. But yeah, this movie just hits a 4 for me. Like, if it's climbing the scale, it just passed a 3.9. It hit a 4. Where I feel like A Quiet Place 2 is a very strong 4 for me. But yeah, I did like this, guys. Comment your thoughts. Do you plan on seeing this in the theater? Are you going to watch it on HBO Max like I did? Maybe the experience will be different in the theater. I do plan to see it again. I don't know how. I might watch it again on HBO Max tonight, or go experience it in a theater as I did the first two. We'll see. But yeah, guys, other than that, you can follow me on Instagram at KingOfRises131 and on Twitter at RyanKing72. More on all that down in the description of this video. Guys, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do so for a bunch of more reviews and unboxings and live shows and giveaways to come. And yeah, guys, that's about it for me. Thank you so much for watching my review for The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. And until next time, over and out.